Welcome to Reset 676. I'm Chandra Mel, the narrator of this online ebook. This information was researched and written by Marek Czepiewski, who granted me permission to narrate this ebook for you. Please understand that this does not directly reflect my personal beliefs, and everything that will be said will be a direct quotation of this ebook, unless I otherwise state that I am bringing in my own information. Thank you for joining, and if you're excited about this kind of information, if you're excited about this content, then please hit subscribe so you can stay up to date with the latest episodes. Chapter 1, The 52-Year Cycle of Cataclysms. Mayan Calendar and year 2012. The ancient Maya were accomplished observers of the sky. With their knowledge of astronomy and mathematics, they developed one of the most accurate calendar systems in human history. In order to chronologically date historical events, the Maya invented the Long Count calendar. The date in the Long Count represents the time since the date of creation, that is, since the beginning of the Mayan era in 3114 BC. The date is written with 5 numbers. For example, 6.3.10.9.0. This means that since the start date has passed, 6 Baktans, 3 Katans, 10 tons, 9 Uinals, and 0 kin. Each Baktan is 144,000 days, or 394 years. Each Katan is 7,200 days, or 20 years. Each ton is 360 days, or 1 year. Each Oinal is 20 days. Each kin is simply 1 day. Therefore, the date 6.3.10.9.0 tells us that the following number of years has passed since the beginning of the era. 6 times 394 years, plus 3 times 20 years, plus 10 years, plus 9 times 20 days, plus 0 days. So, this date means that about 2,435 years after the year 3114 BC, or the year 679 BC. The previous Mayan era ended with the date 13.0.0.0.0 in 3114 BC. And since then, the Long Count calendar has been counted from 0. The next occurrence of the date 13.0.0.0.0 fell on December 21st, 2012, and this day was considered the end of the 5,125-year cycle. The number 13 plays an important and not entirely known role in Mesoamerican calendar systems. Members of the New Age movements believed that a positive spiritual transformation of Earth's inhabitants would begin on that day. Others suggested that the world would then end. Researchers of Mayan culture and astronomy agree that 2012 had no special meaning for these people. The winter solstice on that day also did not play any significant role in Mayan religion and culture. In the predictions of the Maya, Aztecs, and other Mesoamerican peoples, there is no mention of any sudden or significant event that would occur in 2012. Nor did the modern Maya consider this date significant. All the media hype about the end of the world in 2012 was therefore hardly justified. Furthermore, the Aztec sunstone, which was often shown on this occasion, was misrepresented. This stone has nothing to do with the Long Count calendar, but it presents the myth of the 5 suns. That is the history of the world according to the Aztecs. It tells about the cycles of the world and natural disasters, but does not refer to 2012 in any way. So what was the purpose of all this hype? After reading this study, you will know the answer to this question. Haab and Tzolk'in calendars. The Maya used 3 different dating systems in parallel: the Long Count calendar, the Haab, or civil calendar, and the Tzolk'in, or divine calendar. The Maya recorded all dates using these 3 calendars, for example, in this way: 6.3.10.9.0, 2 Ajah, 3 Ke, Ajah being the Tzolk'in calendar and Ke being the Haab. Of these calendars, only the Haab has a direct reference to the length of the year. The Haab was the civil calendar of the Maya. It consisted of 18 months of 20 days each, followed by 5 additional days called Uayeb. This gives a year length of 365 days. Although the Haab calendar was only 365 days, the Maya knew that the year was actually a fraction of a day longer. The Haab calendar was probably first used around 550 BC. The Maya sacred calendar was called the Tzolk'in. The Tzolk'in date is a combination of a month of 20 named days and a week of 13 numbered days. The product of 13 times 20 equals 260. Thus, Tzolk'in gives 260 unique days. The 260-day calendar is considered the oldest and most important of the calendar systems. The original purpose of such a calendar, which has no obvious relation to any astronomical or geophysical cycle, is not precisely known. The 260-day cycle was used by most cultures in pre-Columbian Central America, including those preceding the Maya. The Tzolk'in was probably invented in the early 1st millennium BC by the Zapotecs or the Olmecs. The Aztecs and the Toltecs adopted the mechanics of the Mayan calendar unaltered, but changed the names of the days of the week and the months. This calendar system was characteristic of Mesoamerican peoples and was not used in other regions. The calendar round. The ancient Maya had a fascination with cycles of time. They combined the 260-day Tzolk'in with the 365-day Haab into a synchronized cycle called the calendar round. The smallest number that can be divided evenly by 260 and 365 is 18,980. So the calendar round lasted 18,980 days, or nearly 52 years. If today is, for example, 4 Ahau 8 Kumhu, then the next day following on 4 Ahau 8 Kumhu will be nearly 52 years later. The calendar round is still in use by many groups in the Guatemalan highlands. Among the Aztecs, the end of the calendar round was a time of public panic, because they believed that at the end of any given cycle, the gods might destroy the world. Every 52 years, the Indians watched the four sides of the sky intently. Every 52 years, they anxiously awaited the return of the gods. At the end of the 52-year calendar round, the rituals of the new fire ceremony were performed. Their purpose was none other than to renew the sun and ensure another 52-year cycle. The new fire ceremonies were not limited to the Aztecs. In fact, it was an ancient and widespread ritual. The last new fire ceremony rituals under Aztec rule were probably held from January 23rd to February 4th, 1507, 12 years before the arrival of the Spanish. The last day of the current calendar round will be September 27th, 2026. Native Americans believed that before the end of each 52-year cycle, the gods might return to Earth to destroy it. A belief so foolish that it is hard to come up with anything like it. And if it is hard to come up with it, maybe there is some truth in it after all. We will not find out until we check it out for ourselves. The end dates of the last 13 cycles are as follows. September 27th, 2026. October 10th, 1974. October 23rd, 1922. November 4th, 1870. November 17th, 1818. November 29th, 1766. December 12th, 1714. December 24th, 1662. January 6th, 1611. January 19th, 1559. February 1st, 1507. February 13th, 1455. February 26th, 1403. And March 10th, 1351. Let's take a look at the end of cycle years listed above. Do you associate any of them with a catastrophe? I think at least one of them you should. All right, that is going to do it for part 1 of chapter 1, the 52-year cycle of cataclysms. Stay tuned for the next episode where we continue on with this chapter. We will begin with discussing the biggest pandemic, the Black Death. I'm Chandra Mel, and this is Reset 676.